People who work at a Subway/sandwich place, what is the strangest order you've ever had from a customer? Worked at a Subway and a guy ordered a meatball sub, no sauce, but with copious amounts of vinegar. Also worked at Sonic and had multiple times where a lady ordered tomato sandwiches. Just tomatoes and a bun. Quiznos. Mostly working with teens. This one kid brings in a bunch of Tupperwares at the beginning of his shift. Weird, but I don't care. End of his shift. Edit 3. Not closing time. We had a line up, and his mom shows up to give him a lift. He starts filling the Tupperwares with chili. Turns out his mom tried it one day and loved it. Whole family tried. They all love it. They'd made a deal with our boss to buy bulk chili every week. We had frozen egg discs that we were supposed to heat in the oven. I say egg, but really it was more of a frozen circle of egg whites with a yellow piece in the middle that may or may not be missing depending on luck of the draw. This one guy would come in every shift I had and order just the egg circle, but didn't want us to heat it up. We handed him hard, frozen, disgusting looking discs that sounded like rocks when banged against the counter, covered in ice flakes. He barely spoke English, so the first time he showed up we were very confused to say the least. But once we understood, he was very happy with his egg hockey pucks. Worked at Subway and had a customer ask me for guacamole. She insisted I give her the guac without avocados. I explained there's no such thing. Then she pulled a Karen and asked for the manager. The manager explained what we all already know. The lady got louder and pointed at a pic on her phone she took last time she ordered it. The picture was of Piccoli Gallo. That, ladies and gents, was her avocado-free guacamole. I took great joy explaining guac and Piccoli Gallo to Karen of Subway and why they made two words to describe two different items. Facepalm level, infinite. I worked at a Subway for a couple months after high school. While working there I had a very polite customer who was pregnant at the time come in every other week or so and order the same foot-long ham sandwich. What made this sandwich so strange was that she would ask for a ton of black olives. Like multiple, whole handfuls of black olives. So much that it was hard to close up and wrap the sandwich without some olives spilling out. Some of my coworkers would only give her so much before they refused to add more. There were no rules, to my knowledge, stating a limit on the amount of black olives a customer could request, so I always obliged. Knowing this, she would refuse help from my coworkers and wait for me to make her foot-long black olive sandwich. She would always comment that it was something she started ordering after becoming pregnant, and it was the baby that wanted the olives. Some time had passed where I didn't see her come in anymore. Until one day, I see her walk in with a stroller and her brand new baby daughter. She brought her in so I could meet the olive baby. She thanked me for all the times I made her olive sandwich just the way she liked it, and then proceeded to order a ham sandwich. Only this time, she asked for just a few olives. I quit a short time after, but I still think about that sandwich and the olive baby from time to time. What can I get for you? I'll get a 6-inch honey wheat. Just condiments. Just condiments? Just condiments. All of them, if you don't mind. That day ruled. I worked at a Burger King my junior year of high school. Not a sandwich shop, but play along. I was on specialty board. Chicken and fish mainly. This order came through for an original chicken with HHHH mayo. H in the training stood for heavy or extra. I asked my manager if it was a typo, and they said no, this guy comes in once a week for that sandwich. I swear, by the time my manager said the sandwich was proper, the mayo was thicker than the chicken patty itself. I felt like I needed to bathe afterwards. I used to work at McDonald's. We had a regular customer who wanted a plain quarter pounder, no bun, extra pickles. Basically, just a 1/4 pound beef patty with like a half cup of pickle slices on top of it. Okay, this doesn't start out like a sandwich story, but it will end like one. I was working at Pizza Hut and this white trash guy almost entirely wearing denim with a matching blue bowl cap comes in and orders an anchovy pizza. So 20 minutes later I bring his god awful smelling pizza to him, and he takes 2 pieces and lays them on top of each other. He looks me straight in the eye and says, "It's like eating pussy," and then proceeds to start eating his pussy pizza sandwich. At McDonald's a guy came in and said he had lost a bet and as a result had to order a double cheeseburger with 17 extra patties and bacon and cheese between each patty. I don't remember how much it cost, but we had to tape several wrappers together just to cover it up and keep it sort of together. I think we gave him a knife and fork to eat it with. I had to cut extra holes in Swiss cheese for an 8-year-old. Been the strangest request since we opened in 2007. Okay, I got a few. Weirdest or at least most disgusting one was this guy who would come in regularly and order a tuna pizza. We would literally take the tuna salad and just put a layer of it across the pizza, then cover it with cheese and bake it for a few minutes. Holy crap, the smell that would come off of that things was terrible. Another was guy that ordered everything on a foot long. I mean every single kind of meat, including like 3 or 4 different types of chicken, steak, meatballs, tuna, all the deli meat, all the cheese toasted, and then adding every single vegetable and condiment we owned. And we didn't skimp on anything. He got exactly how much of each that should be on a foot long, so as you can imagine it was literally impossible to fold. So we basically just left it open faced and wrapped it in paper. Dude walked out after paying like $60 just for that one sandwich. This one guy used to come into my sub shop at least twice a week. Always ordered a steak and cheese with extra ketchup. Except you couldn't put enough ketchup on it. We could use over half a bottle and he would still come back and ask for the bottle because packets took too much time. I worked at a Subway a long time ago, and a guy would order 2 full bags of lettuce on his sandwich every day. Imagine 2 pounds of lettuce on some bread. He would order often enough that I knew to go in the back and grab 2 full bags just for him. Worked the night shift for Subway during college. Had a regular come in at 3 AM usually that would request that we toast the crap out of his sandwich. I'm talking the whole thing was basically charcoal. First time he came in, while I was on shift, I pulled his sandwich out of the toaster and he told me to put it back in, and again, and again. I thought he was a drunk guy freaking with me. Apparently he really liked the taste of burnt everything. Gross me out, but as long as he paid I didn't really care. Worked at a pizza place for like 5 minutes during uni. Guy used to come in and order a calzone stuffed with just ketchup. No cheese, no actual tomato sauce. Worked at a small town Subway for 5 years in high school and university. We had this guy come in that we called the Mountain. He was at least 300 pounds and probably 6 feet 5 inches. He always came in wearing full fleece camo outfit. In a hoe, his order would always be the same, which is why I remember it so well. The guy would get a foot long with the BBQ rib patty, the most disgusting thing on the menu, and the veggie patty, the second most disgusting thing on the menu. He would also get quadruple extra bacon, the same amount as a foot long BLT with double meat. In addition to all the meat, he would get regular amounts of every cheese. Just to recap, at this point he has enough meat for 4 foot longs, and enough cheese for 4 on one goddamn foot long. Now, here's where it gets good. This dude wouldn't get any veggies. He would ask for just salt, not salt and pepper, just salt. And the cherry on top, he would say, don't bother cutting it in half. Just gonna start at one end and stop at the other. I've never worked at Subway or a sandwich place, but I was that customer once. When I was a kid, I had a problem with pronouncing words and was delayed when it came to reading. My family thought they could fix this by making me speak pretty much 24/7, which included ordering on my own. We went to Subway one time and I wanted a 6-inch spicy Italian with white bread and toasted. I didn't know the name of this sandwich when I was younger, but I knew it had pepperoni and salami on it. The problem was, I couldn't pronounce salami and my family wouldn't help me order, so I ended up asking for a 6-inch sandwich with white bread, those 2 types of pepperonis, and heated. The guy at the counter stopped what he was doing and stared at me with a blank expression for what felt like forever. He looked so confused, and that was probably the moment when he questioned why he was working at Subway to begin with. After that awkward pause, he then made my order. After my family paid and I got my sandwich, it only had "2 pepperonis on toasted bread." The guy at the counter legit thought that I only wanted 2 pepperonis on my sandwich. I remember asking them why they let this happen, and they pretty much told me that I made my bed, so I had to lie in it now. I ate 2 pepperonis and toasted bread for dinner that day, while the worker probably contemplated why he should continue working at Subway. Worked at Subway. This 50-year-old trucker asked me to toast a tuna sandwich, put extra pickles, and sprinkle 2 Splendor packages on top. That was all the sandwich had. Don't work there anymore, but the one order that sticks in my mind above everything else was one time a guy came in on the phone to order 2 sandwiches, and he explained one was for his 7 months pregnant wife, so to please make it right, he has a list of exactly what she wants. So I made it exactly how it was written down, then made his, and he paid, and all was good in the world. Then maybe 10 minutes later the phone rings, and I answer it, and there is this woman on the phone just screaming at me, telling me I made her sandwich wrong, and how she wanted ranch instead of mayo and blah blah, and that she would send her husband in to get it remade. Yeah, no, full Karen minus the let me speak to the manager bit. So the guy comes back in, and I immediately recognize him, and he's apologizing profusely, explaining that his wife is pregnant and hormones and whatnot, and I assured him I've been yelled at for less, it's no big deal, I'll remake it at no charge. He has the offending sandwich, I remake it right and throw the old one away, and as I'm ringing up the order, even though it was free, it still had to be rung up at $0. For bread count accuracy, the phone rings. So I hand the man his sandwich and answer the phone, and there is this woman on the phone hysterically crying on the other end. And so I ask if she's alright, and she informs me that she called earlier and she felt horrible about yelling at me because she realized she wrote it down wrong. And it wasn't my fault, and the whole time I'm just awkwardly telling her that it's okay, no big deal, we got it taken care of, you're okay, don't worry about it. It's no big deal. And then she, still sobbing, asks me straight up, do you forgive me? And I said it's all good, no worries, and she said no. Do you forgive me? And I said yeah, don't worry about it, and she asked again, but do you forgive me? And I replied yes, I forgive you. Have a great night, ma'am. After which she hung up. I still remember that even 7 years later, because it was the only time I've ever had a customer call back not only to apologize, but crying about it as well. Ironically, for the question, I don't actually remember what the specific sandwich was. I wanna say it was an oven roasted chicken breast, but I truly am just taking a shot in the dark. Used to work in a deli that also made some simple breakfast items in the mornings. One day a lady ordered a Western omelette, hold the eggs. I had to specify 3 times that she did not want any eggs in the omelette. We made her a salad of diced ham, onions, green bell peppers, with salsa, and she seemed pleased with this. Not an order, but my boyfriend had a customer come in with a Kermit the Frog puppet. The customer spoke through the puppet, had my boyfriend hand the change to the puppet, and also slide the sandwich to the puppet. Not a worker, but a Grubhub driver. Someone ordered a meatball sub from Subway that had nothing on it but meatballs, the sauce, and about 4 times as much mayonnaise as would go on a regular sandwich. That was it. He made 2 orders for the same thing within 2 hours, and I delivered them both. Don't work there, but they ordered a veggie delight on flatbread, but the only veggies they wanted was olives, and they asked for it to be absolutely doused in oil and vinegar. Like it looked like a soggy waffle with olives sticking out. I haven't worked at Subway for like 15 years, but will never forget the asshole regular that came in and wanted a frick ton of olives and drowned in chipotle. He was a pages the entire time for no reason, so we all got real passive aggressive with him and just did the prescribed 6 olives at a time and 3 lines of dressing. He'd turn red, call the owner. He'd be it enough, the manager was told to just have him call the owner, and the owner would just say they're doing it how they're trained and how Subway requires. He'd disappear for a month or so, then repeat. My town had a lot of foreign exchange students from South Korea and they would always order the meatball subs with scoops of seafood sensation, which was just mayo and imitation crab. Then have it toasted. It smelled horrible. Also had a guy that could barely talk. He was so high, wanted every sauce on his chicken bacon ranch. It was more soup by the end. Then he gets to the register and he remembers he doesn't have any money and walks away. My manager actually asked anyone if they wanted it. I worked at a Subway next to the shadiest motel in town and hookers would come in all the time. For the most part they were fine, but one lady would come in and get the cold cut combo and ask for oil on it. I always loved watching new employees make her food because of the look of amusement, turning to confusion, turning to horror as she demanded more oil. Empty the bottle on this sandwich and she'd get all huffy and rudely ask you to refill it and keep going. By the time you were done, the bread was so saturated with oil that it just mushed apart. If you tried to touch it, you had to use the paper to try and topple the oily mess into a vaguely sub-shaped blob and roll it up fast before it leaked everywhere. I always wished she'd stay in the lobby to eat it just once so I could be sure she really intended to use it as food, but she always shuffled back to the motel to have her oily feast. Not a sandwich shop, but I was a pizza maker for years at a pretty nice restaurant. Think Caribous but local owned and French trained head chef. Anyway, a bus full of special needs folks and their helpers came in one day kind of in between lunch and dinner, like about 2:30ish. They all order food and are having a great time. Italian music blasting, delicious homemade bread at the table. Everyone's having a great time. The order comes to me. Nothing too memorable except for this one specific pie. Small cheese pizza, no cheese, no sauce. I check with the server. Yep, that's what he requested. No oil, no nothing. So I make it. One beautiful fresh made dough ball expertly tossed and shaped into a small pizza. I stay on top of it in the oven, popping all the little bubbles that rise up and push them back down flat. It finishes and I cut it into 6 slices. She brings it to the table. The chef wants me to go out and make sure everyone is enjoying their meal. I go. The gentleman eating that unique pizza is ecstatic, tells me and the whole restaurant that this is the best pizza he's ever had, and I truly believe he meant it. This was about 20 years ago, and I think about that table often. I've cooked and sold thousands of pizzas and that was my most memorable for sure. I hope that guy is doing well, and I hope he is still trying all the pizzas this world has to offer. I worked at Subway many years ago. There was a couple that would come in semi-regularly and she wanted just a double helping of American cheese on white bread. No veggies, no condiments, just cheese. I never charged her for the extra cheese since I figured the veggies she wasn't getting offset it. Eventually she started asking for more and more cheese until it was easily 10x what came on it. She must have been bummed when I quit. That cheese sandwich probably would have cost about $10 if someone who gave a crap rang it up. Was getting breakfast at this place called the Great Canadian Bagel Company. The girl ahead of us gets a breakfast sandwich with extra mayo and then says, like a serious amount of mayo, more than you think is comfortable. The guy does a solid 4 servings and she shakes her head in disgust/shame and is like, no, I'm actually messed up. I need more mayo. Took everything in me not to laugh as it happened. Thank you for watching the video. Tell us your stories in the comments below. See you soon.